So at the 11th hour, because we were doing promos for Yu-Gi-Oh! On the air, coming soon. Not really, if you don't cast Kaiba. It was all right, right? I said to Lloyd, I said, how about this? How about I dub half the episode? And if you like it, we're halfway there. If you don't, I'll keep bringing in every guy I know in New York City. And I did it, and he was like, that's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for. And Joe turned around to me after he walked out of the room. He goes, you could have said that and done this about 3 weeks ago, and then we would have had lunch during the day.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to GalaxyCon Live, where we're bringing the convention experience directly to you. I'm your host for today's panel, Mario Bueno. Welcome, welcome. We have a very exciting chat for you all today. We are going to be speaking to the English cast of Yu-Gi-Oh! Very, very excited. These folks are no strangers to GalaxyCon Live, and I'm sure they are no strangers to many of you who are the Yu-Gi-Oh! Faithful. So without further ado, let's start bringing everybody out to our virtual stage today. We're going to start with Yugi's best buddy, Joey Wheeler himself, Wayne Grayson.
Hey, I was not ready to be first.
Well, welcome. Do appreciate you taking one for the team. So besides playing Joey Wheeler in Yu-Gi-Oh!, we can also find you as Michelangelo in the 2003 adaptation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So yeah, I just wanted to also bring out one of the rivals of our lovely cast here. We're also going to be bringing out Maximillion Pegasus, Darren Dunstan.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome to the virtual stage.
Thank you for having me. Good. Yourself?
Doing fantastic. Thank you.
Wayne?
Pardon?
I said, Wayne, how are you?
I'm good, DD. How are you?
Excellent.
Excellent indeed.
Already feeling the love. That is fantastic. And someone else who has questionable amounts of love because it is Seta Kaiba himself. Please welcome to our virtual stage, Eric Stewart.
Oh, hey, Darren and Wayne.
Hi.
Hey,
Oh man, this is gonna be a good time today. I can already feel it in my bones. How you doing today, Eric?
Oh, I'm fantastic and well lit.
Very well lit. It is so lit today. Next up, we're going to be bringing along Kaiba's little brother, Mokuba. Please welcome to our virtual stage, Tara Sands.
Hi, you guys! It's so much fun to see everybody.
Hey. Aw, definitely going to be feeling some love today. That is fantastic. And another person who definitely would be feeling the love, considering the character's last name, my Valentine, also Mana Dark Magician Girl. Please welcome to our virtual stage, Erica Schroeder.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
Hi.
hello.
Oh, how are you doing over there in the very spacious guest bedroom?
I'm doing fabulous. I'm thinking of having guests over tonight.
I'll be there.
Put your feet up on the desk. Just
Have a nice socially distanced party over at Casa Schroeder.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And of course, the main man himself, Yugi Muto. Please welcome to our virtual stage, Dan Green.
Hey!
Hello and welcome, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
It's time to cool!
Wait a minute. But welcome. Really glad to see you. How you doing tonight?
Awesome. Happy to be here. Yeah.
Rock and roll. So I just wanted to kind of, round table with everybody here tonight before we started getting into some general questions, as well as opening it up to our wonderful viewers who are tuned in at home. So I'm actually going to kind of work in reverse here. So Dan, we brought you out last, but we're gonna grill you first.
I can go because I was first.
There we go. Oh, Wayne's gonna take 5 now.
Are you bored, Wayne?
Really?
So, Dan, first off, really great to see you. It's been a while. For our live viewers at home, many moons ago, when I was still early in my own voiceover career, Dan was actually one of my first mentors. Worked with him over at a studio here in New York. He taught me some great fundamentals for character voice acting. Helped me put together my first character demo. And actually, on my first audiobook, he was the guy who basically came in, gave me the metaphorical high five. Having just finished another audiobook project months ago, I just found it hilarious that here we are catching up talking about anime, because that was one of the first things that I know I brought to you. So you are, besides a prolific actor, especially in the world of anime, you are also known as Knuckles the Echidna in Sonic X and Sonic the Hedgehog. And I know you've also taken on some more video game anime voiceover recently. Would you tell us a little bit about your experience taking over as Mewtwo in Pokemon?
It was such a great honor to have a character that is so cool be something that I could participate in. And obviously I was not the original Mewtwo that was in the first movie, but I started being Mewtwo not long after that. So I love working with everybody who brings these shows together. Mewtwo is complex in certain ways, and that's always fun to work with as a performer. And I get to sound really stern most of the time, which comes naturally. So it's easy.
Rock and roll. So I'm gonna shift on over. Speaking of tone, speaking of voice, one of my personal favorites, Wayne. So as mentioned, you've done work in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You have a very distinct character voice as Joey Wheeler. So we got to talk New York. we have to. We were just talking about.
Let's discuss the Big Apple, shall we?
Yes. So when you were first, getting to the character, I know a lot of different dub actors take different approaches when they are, given their sides for the first time, given the character illustration for the first time. Some will, go and research and just slave over a particular voice. Others will just kind of, call it on the fly. What was your process for picking Joey Wheeler when you finally got the chance to work with the character?
Well, now Eric can probably back me up or refute any of this. I do remember that it was and still is the scripts to this day. If ever I have to go in and redo Joey stuff, they're written phonetically. So the is DA, the is stat. After 20 years, I can't just intuitively do that, but whatever. No, they said they wanted him to be kind of that he was streetwise and he was in a gang at one point, and he was rough around the edges and tough. And I think someone threw Brooklyn in the mix. At the time, I was living in Brooklyn, so I just kind of did that. And actually, the funny thing is that the voice that I do for Joey is kind of close to my natural accent. And my brother, who moved to South Carolina many years ago, still speaks with that accent. So I spent years trying to shake that accent. I'm a Shakespearean actor, and no, I'm doing this now and getting paid for it. So life is funny.
And Mario, just to add to one of the reasons we did all the different accents on the show is because unlike with just strict anime where it's you might even have the same actor playing the same role, different roles in this that are all the similar ages and things like that, we wanted for the broadcast stuff it to be recognizable even when you didn't see them. So you have 5 or 6 teenage boys in a show. We had to give them something that made them stand out from each other rather than just pitch and things like that. So that's why there's a lot of Southern accents, and then there's the New York accents, things like that, where you think, okay, I guess they're from everywhere. But it's also so that you really recognize who's speaking when you're not even in front of the TV.
It's such a cosmopolitan school they all went to.
And Wayne has gone on to do Shakespeare in Joey's dialect, so that's really interesting. His Hamlet was amazing.
Remember?
Joey's accent.
To be or not to be, forget about it.
You did the balcony scene as mine.
You did that in a convention.
That was amazing.
Well, I threw you on the window breaks. I gotta pay for that.
Oh, I definitely want to see
Okay,
this
I got a guy.
Hamlet. Let me tell you.
You open the floodgates. It's your fault, Mario.
I regret nothing.
Oh,
Also,
yo.
hi there from Bushwick. 'Cause, yeah, I was like, this is perfect. We're gonna have.
Darren, your Brooklyn accent.
Nah, it
Pardon?
sucks. Mine sucks.
Darren, your Brooklyn accent. Let's hear it.
Oh, me? Well, forget about it.
That's the Canadian Brooklyn.
That's
That-
too
that's-
about it.
You're talking about
About it, yeah.
Mute it. Hey, yo,
Oh,
one
everybody,
way,
welcome
Angela.
to Speaking with a Brooklyn Accent 101 with the cast of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Hey, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn too, but I went to private school, so I didn't talk like that. I'm sorry. Didn't know it.
Snub.
Oh man. So actually, Eric, you were going to be next on my list. So thanks for actually taking it on, however unintentionally.
Okay.
And do appreciate the the insight there about the choices, because again, like every production takes very different approaches. So it's cool to hear what the approach was for Yu-Gi-Oh. It's very smart choice, quite frankly. So yeah, good on you guys. So for you, Eric, besides having a slew of roles in Pokemon, some of the most noteworthy being Brock and James, some
these
fantastic stuff there. Yeah, there we go. There are our boys.
You are literally attached to your characters. That's great.
That's right. I know, it's crazy.
Showing
I'm listening
love.
to you. I'm sorry, Mario. I just have to.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. We're having a good time here.
Oh,
So
you guys White Dragon? What happened? I'm listening.
yes, good.
I have a calculator. I have a calculator.
Pardon?
Hey, that's
Also we're doing show and tell. All right, cool. Let's go around. Show
Sorry,
us your
Mario.
merch. Show us your merch. What you got?
Yes, I'm listening. I promise.
Let's get through this.
I promise.
Oh,
I love that show.
Our family is crazy about it.
Yeah, it's basically like part of the morning routine now. It's gotten to that phase in the story where it's just kind of like, yeah, don't check Twitter, watch WandaVision,
Yeah,
then
Right,
let's
Friday
go in.
morning. No spoilers. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started about the Mandalorian. That was that was a rough couple of weeks there. It was really hard to avoid morning check-ins, let me tell you. So Eric, you also have worked in Slayers, another prolific anime from the 90s. It was a quality show, one of the old favorites. So you've definitely worked a lot of different roles as an actor, but you've also worked behind the scenes as well. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I did a lot of directing and producing of radio and TV commercials when I first started in the business. And I actually started working in the studio when I was 18 years old, and worked my way up from production assistant to casting director to director. And then I ran the studio for a while. So I was actually, my performance side was as a musician, and my production side was as a director and a producer. So when I got the audition for Slayers, or even something maybe right before that from the same group of people, it was like, hey, we're looking for young voices, and do you like cartoons? And I was like, yeah. So because I had been working behind the scenes so much in the voiceover world, I thought this might make sense, because I could also keep pursuing music and not be recognized for being the tidy bowl man on camera if I were to do any commercials. So yeah, and once I started to do that, and it was also such a small clique of people. I mean, some of these people in this group here, I've known them forever. I mean, I've been working in voiceovers, it's over 30 years. So when 4Kids decided that they wanted to take Pokemon and other shows in-house, they called me up and said, we have a brand new show. It's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Would you come on in, and we want to interview you to be a director, since you've been directing some other stuff for us. And so I was doing double duty there by also, acting as well as directing. But I enjoy it. I got to say, I love being the characters, but it's also really cool to be the chef and put the ingredients in. And I learned so much from other actors when directing. When you push them to see what their abilities are, and how they take direction and what they give back. If you're a good director, you're also a sponge, and you're taking that all in because you're learning. And also the dynamic, I think, understanding people. knowing how to direct one person over another person. You could ask the same question of them or give them the same direction, but you need to say it differently because of their personality. So that's a fun, that I enjoy that. And I enjoy then seeing the final product of what's been created. So yeah, I did a lot of behind the scenes.
Eric
Very
learned a lot
cool.
of my limitations.
Well, for instance,
they're easy to discover.
Without destroying the image of Kaiba and Yugi not getting along, we're actually very dear friends. But Dan is such a fantastic actor, and he knows that I love him, that I could say something to him in a session like, "That was great, but can we try the next one with talent?" And he would laugh, right?
because I'm like, what's talent?
Right.
I mean,
but with some other people, if I said something like that, they might think that I was being serious and be offended by it in the future. Wayne, what?
You just said one time, change two things, everything you say and everything you do.
Yeah, no, the camaraderie definitely is coming through, even just these snippets of conversation we're having. So it is good to hear that you guys do have that kind of working relationship, that you can rib each other in between takes, and that's another testament to why I think these performances really resonate with so many people, because you guys are very clearly having fun with this. I'm actually going to continue your line of thought there, because Darren, besides being the absolutely fabulous Maximillion Pegasus, you are also known as the wise sage Splinter in the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I know that you also have done your fair share of behind the scenes work. Would you be so kind as to share some of your experiences, whether it speaks to a similar one as Eric's, or if you've had your own unique takes or approaches?
Yeah, I learned directing from Eric. I mean, the company that we were working for was looking for directors, and so I actually sat in with him on that side of the glass. And a lot of what I do today is from what I learned from watching him. And
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The good stuff. Yeah, and like it's kind of teaching in a way. Like I come from a family of teachers, and it's not dissimilar. It's figuring out, like Eric said, how people tick, and everyone needs something else. Whether it's descriptors or imagery, or maybe they react more to the visuals. Maybe they need a little more hand holding, and all of it's fine as long as the product is good. Yeah, so I primarily direct now. I do occasional acting, but it's mostly directing stuff, because I don't know, it's a good fit. It's a nice combination of creative stuff and administrative is the wrong word, but organizational, clinical, like Eric described it as the chef, and that kind of suits my personality. Control, baby, control.
But he's also leaving out that he's also a fantastic singer.
Yeah,
He's a fantastic singer.
Yeah, I know that you have some roots in theater. So yeah,
There's a lot of great singers looking around here. To Erica, sing us a tune.
Give me a snappy beat.
Karaoke going on here, y'all.
In this room,
right?
Rock and roll. So
He's
actually, I'm
Darren's also leaving out that I think our first introduction to Darren was when he was in the stage version
That's true.
of Pokemon, and we all went to see it at Radio City.
Did
Music
you?
Hall, I believe.
Yeah.
My God, you surrounded by like a flood of.
Yes, I went to. That was where I first met you, and I first met Andrew. And he was dressed as James, and we were. He was like, "Oh my God, you're James," and I'm like, "No, you're James."
A quick aside for any of the viewers here. The Andrew that is being mentioned is Tony Award winner Andrew Rannells, who originated the role of Elder Price in the Book of Mormon, who played James in this very same production of Pokemon.
He should have won an award for that too.
Yes. Oh yeah. Award. Darren definitely should take it.
For a lot of us for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a hoot. Yeah, it was fun, and it introduced me to all these yahoos. So
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's a very interesting production. My own experience with it was about almost a year ago. We started doing monthly radio dramas over on my production brand's Twitch channel. The very first one was Pokemon Live, because the project director for that had seen it as a kid and just on a whim was like, I want to do this thing. I'm like, this sounds crazy. Let's do this.
That's hilarious.
When I found out that we were going to be speaking to you, I'm like, do I want to bring this up? And thank you very much, everybody
I
else.
bring it up every chance. I wasn't even in it. I bring it up whenever I can.
I mean, the
Or
fact
at
that you guys
dinner,
were
you bring it up at
supportive and,
dinner.
went out to go check out the show. That just really speaks to, not just how much fun it clearly was to be a part of, but also, again, the genuine camaraderie that this team has. So
I
that's
know. Two
very cool.
Perfect Girls is my ringtone. So I mean,
I mean, to be fair, It Will All Be Mine is a bit of an earworm. Like, I hadn't heard it prior to last year, and then just like every so often, I'll just throw it on because it slaps.
Just to hear something creepy and intimidating. Yeah, I get it, man.
It's such a good character song, is why. It's just like,
Yeah,
really
Lou. What was Lou's name? Lou Cortellesi?
yeah,
Is
Lou
that the right
Corlesi.
name?
Lou played
Yeah.
sax for me on some of my music. Like I send him stuff. He's still playing. He's down in Florida. Yeah, great guy. Very talented.
Great musicians. And
Yeah.
like the composer was like
He's down in Pittsburgh. Play me something in a snappy beat in the key of C. I think we should all do the mid-Atlantic accents for the rest of the entire broadcast.
So I've got 2 more to go, and then we're going to get into our general questions. So real quick, since we were speaking to the very, very musically capable Erica, so you had a very interesting recent voice role that I wanted to kind of touch upon and also encourage people to go out and watch because it is genuinely a fantastic show. That is the anime Arte, which is set in Renaissance Italy. You play the courtesan Veronica. And this one popped up on my radar because one of my podcast mates just did their first anime credit on that show as one of Veronica's servants. So I'm like, what a small world.
Yeah, it is.
So what was it kind of like, working with this kind of mentor character in a very period piece, as best as you can recollect?
Well, it was a great part for me. I felt very connected because it sort of brought my classical roots. Because Wayne and I studied at NYU together at Shakespeare. He was actually my TA for my combat, which was crazy. We didn't know we were going to go like this and then back,
Yeah.
But so it was more classically based, and so I was like, oh, I'm really excited about this because it's like anime meets classical theater. So when I auditioned and got the part, I was very excited, and I had to be taught how to say the name Veronica. But that was my first time working with Marissa Lenti, and she's incredible.
Oh, she's great. Yeah.
Powerful and a really cool person. So and she's a great, very talented director. So I really enjoyed working with her on that. So I'm glad you got a chance to see it. Yeah.
Oh, rock and roll. And again, I highly encourage people check it out. It is a fantastic show. Felt like it went kind of under the radar in 2020, but we definitely make sure to scream about it every chance we get.
You had me a courtesan.
The character, but
Okay.
So
I
finally,
don't think I deal with the courtesans.
oh yes, sorry.
You were not one of the courtisans. Yeah.
I don't deal with the courtesans. I'm in the show, but I'm some art apprentice that falls down a lot.
He doesn't wear bustiers.
No, he's very straight laced.
In not in the show anyway. Yeah.
No. In the show, it's a different story. I like.
We're going to wrap up this part of the program with Tara. So tonight, well, first off, just as a quick reminder, besides doing a fantastic job as Mokuba in Yu-Gi-Oh, we can also hear you as the Bulbasaur in Pokemon and Kari Kamiya in Digimon. So the dueling Mon fandoms. So tonight is the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, and interestingly enough, you definitely have been involved with a whole bunch of Crunchyroll productions, including one of the big nominees of the night, God of High School, the adaptation of the Korean manhwa. So in general, what's your experience been like working with some of those particular productions? Because I know they've been kind of going off the beaten path, adapting things like manhwa, all these other original productions like Onyx Equinox, which also dropped late last year, taking a very different tone. What's that experience been like?
It's been intense because they try to do these things as quickly as possible. The simuldubs are a big deal right now. People want these things really super fast. So, you know, it's funny, you brought this up earlier and you were like, oh, this show. And I'm like, I don't know who I played on that because there's no time for anything. Like the director barely explains the plot. I mean, like it's just quick. So God of High School is really fun to work on. The funny role on that, I was Nurse Heel, where I got to like do my pretend sexy voice and then go and do like a serious character in another scene. So that's been fun. That's been the closest, working with Crunchyroll and doing the volume of stuff we do is the closest I feel to when we were at 4Kids doing like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and all these shows, and we felt it kind of almost felt like a repertory company, you know, like you bounce from one studio to another, and there weren't that many of us doing all of the shows. And with Crunchyroll and then the Funimation group, like it feels like those are their own kind of repertory companies today. Except we don't get to see each other, which is the bummer of it all. Those days we all saw each other and got to know each other. It was really nice back then.
Yeah, that is a fantastic analogy, honestly, because not just from this discussion here, but from stories I get from friends of mine, down in Dallas, Fort Worth, also out in Los Angeles. There's a lot of these, kind of like you said, repertory style tropes that you find in the anime world. So it's really cool to see that. It doesn't matter what region you're in, you're still going to have this kind of family experience. So very cool. And speaking of the family, the GalaxyCon Live family definitely has some questions for you all. So let's start taking some of those. Let's see what we have first. Okay, this one is from Lynn. What other character that you have voiced would you love to see interact with your character from Yu-Gi-Oh? Whoever wants to take this one first. So what other character you have voiced? Like, doesn't matter what. Who would you like to see work with your Yu-Gi-Oh character?
I would love to see Hudson Horstachio, which was part of a show called Viva Pinata.
Oh, wow, yes, Viva Pinata.
I'd love to hear him interact with Yami Yugi. Like they're on vacation, and they're very different personality types. That could be fun.
I played Biscuit on Hunter x Hunter. And she would definitely whip Mokuba into shape. I mean, none of this getting kidnapped business. She'd be like, get your act together. She'd train him, and he would be tough for sure.
I think
I would
James,
just like different characters.
Sorry, go ahead, Wayne.
No. I would like to do two characters that I do that have just very distinctly different voices, just for my own education and my own entertainment. Like maybe. Joey and Cyrus from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. That would be annoying to listen to, but it'd be fun for me.
I think James from Team Rocket and Kaiba, two extremely wealthy young men with completely different approaches to life. I think that those two would be amusing together. Actually, they'd make a much better Team Rocket, if you ask me. They might actually capture
It might be interesting to see Bianca from Pokemon knock my Valentine into a water fountain or something like that. Since every time she came into a scene, she'd knock Ash into a body of water. Just to see what Mai's reaction would be. I don't think she'd be very happy about it. So I think that would be an interesting interaction.
I guess I would say Kaz from Chaotic, just because he was sort of buttoned up and OCD, and he would probably go work for Pegasus gladly, learn from him, maybe turn to the dark side. I think they'd collaborate well. Super smart.
I think that's it.
That's everyone.
Yeah, that's all of us.
I think we're good. Cool. So let's see what we've got next. Just some very interesting mashups there. Oh man. All right, so since we were waxing nostalgic about, days of yore with the booth, this one's from Debbie. What's your most memorable moment in the recording booth?
If it doesn't have
I
to be
can't
Darren,
even go there.
Darren, didn't I used to, like, if I would trip over something, I'd be like, I was pushed. Like,
I literally looked up once. I heard a thud. I looked up, and Tara's on the floor in the booth, and then claimed she was pushed.
I don't know what happens in the booth. I'm very very clumsy. And
girl.
listen, it's padding. It's the one place I can't get hurt.
A lot of cords. I get it.
It was the morning after one of our parties. So.
Listen,
You
we had a
probably-
lot of fun back in the day. Definitely possible.
Yeah.
I know there was a great moment where we were doing Ninja Turtles, and we used to do that all four of the turtles in the booth at the same time. And Greg, who played Raphael at the time, was really, really sick. Like he had the flu, bad news.
No.
It was a heavy rap episode. Like he had a ninja fight and all kinds of reacts, and he had yelling, and every take, he just had to sit down. Like he was best. He was there 100%, but just you could see him like, yeah, I'm gonna go and take care of this, Mikey. Melt. Good time.
That's awesome.
Maybe singing the national anthem as Luffy.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but we got to sing it the whole way through. So then they pieced together and they picked their favorites from each character. And I loved doing that. And I discovered that Luffy was a heavy metal singer. And Joe Chalet, who was dying of laughter, we were in hysterics because Luffy was a really good heavy metal singer. So I really enjoyed that.
So Mario, my memory is not a funny one. My memory is like the awe of the machine of Pokemon. Dubbing the first movie, we were on a huge sound stage. And it was the first time I've ever worked in a room that big with a screen that took up that much space. And we dubbed the movie that way. And it was amazing. It was like, we went from working in the smallest possible studio in New York, which is probably like, now if it was like a studio apartment, it'd be like $3,000 a month. It was like, it was this tiny little postage stamp of a studio. And then the next thing was we're working on this movie. And, every time you work on these kinds of shows, they're like, it's going to be huge. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And walking into that studio for the first time and looking up and saying, you're going to stand here and you're going to dub to this. Of course, they still didn't get the lip flap right. And it's that big, but whatever. I mean, come on. But that was an amazing moment because that was like, okay, this is the real deal. So that's probably my most memorable in the big booth.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I think we still have Dan. Do you have any particular memories?
Mine is similar to what Eric was just talking about. So I got to do the role of Entei, and it was Pokemon's third film, I believe. But they were still using that practice of going to a really big place, and the screen is like the size of a huge wall, right? And they're in this big empty chamber, and the booth was behind me. So I have this sense that there are these people behind me, and I'm on this mic and trying to match. It wasn't the first thing I dubbed, but it was the first thing I had dubbed under those circumstances. And I remember feeling like, wow, this is, a bigger deal than I've ever participated in before. But the memory that really stands out involved with that was after every take, I'd want to say something to the people that I'm working with. And because they were behind me, I'd like call it out. Oh yeah, let me try that. And they're like, no, you're on the mic. You don't need to talk loudly, you noob. So eventually I learned. But yeah, it was that sense, as Eric was just describing. It's like, oh, this is a different league, or at least, it felt that way. And yeah. And that was the first time that I did something that appeared in theaters for general audiences anyway.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think Darren is last, if I'm not mistaken.
The same question. I guess two things popped to mind. Like I always trying to make Eric and whoever was in the other room laugh, I think was sort of like the goal, especially because Pegasus would have comedic opportunities, so that was always the goal. And then also we'd have to we'd do promos. We'd go and do a promo with this producer and that producer, and it almost felt like having the babysitter, where like Eric wasn't around, and so like Erica deciding Luffy's like a heavy metal star, like we kind of would test, I feel like, to see what we could get away with, like push the envelope, be like, no, that's what he sounds like, or to do something extra goofy, or like, I don't know, just to, I don't know why, I felt it's immature, I guess, but we would try to sort of push their buttons a little bit. And Joe's like, this is not right.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Vegas.
Shaking his head.
Joe's the engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the engineers definitely the unsung heroes. But from everything I heard talking with working voice actors in 2020, they are definitely the MVPs of this past year with working with everybody from home. So
yeah.
Be grateful to your engineers, y'all, especially those of you working in the industry on your way up. So let's see what our next question is.
Can I ask a question? Just of these guys, real quick.
Sorry. You know what? Go for it.
I'm sorry, because someone asked me if I auditioned for Yu-Gi-Oh, and I don't remember that. Do you guys remember your audition for Yu-Gi-Oh?
I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
We had audition.
Well, the short version.
Give you the part.
The short version is they brought me.
It was the day after you fell in the booth when you were
no. So Tara, they brought me in to direct Yu-Gi-Oh, and they had already cast Dan, and they had cast some of the other actors in the show, but they didn't cast. They hadn't picked Kaiba yet, and because I was the director, I had to audition for all of these other actors for the role of Kaiba to make the producer happy. And then finally, Joe, our engineer, after about 3 or 4 days of casting, turned around to me and said, "Why don't you read for this?" And I said, "Well, because I've been hired as the director, and I can't really tell the producer that I should be like one of the co-stars of the show." And he's like, "But you're right for it." And I said, "That's true, maybe, but I can't do that." So at the 11th hour, because we were doing promos for Yu-Gi-Oh! On the air, coming soon. Not really, if you don't cast Kaiba. It was all right, right? I said to Lloyd, I said, "How about this? How about I dub half the episode? And if you like it, we're halfway there. If you don't, I'll keep bringing in every guy I know in New York City." And I did it, and he was like, "That's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for." And Joe turned around to me after he walked out of the room. He goes, "You could have said that and done this about 3 weeks ago, and then we would have had lunch during the day."
I knew we'd get a good story out of it. Sorry to have asked a question.
Yeah, so yes.
I mean, that was a fantastic question. And again, just it goes to show, how anything is possible in the world of acting. Like just the most uncanny of circumstances can just fall into your lap. In this case, hey, literally this is just the best call.
Tara, I might have just brought you in when they said this is the role for Kaiba's brother.
That's what I'm wondering.
I think I said I know who can play, because there was a little bit of I had that kind of leeway with a lot of the stuff because you started as a smaller character, so it was like, let me just pick this person because I know you could do it because you do the young boy voices so well,
Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes sense now. Yeah.
Yep.
And now you know.
And now you one to grow on from Kaiba.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's take it to our next question. See what we've got here.
Oh.
Okay, then. Mike asking the tough questions here. So what was everyone else's audition like?
I haven't answered yet, so I guess I could go. Eric, you may or may not remember, I was called in that same week for Nurse Joy because Megan moved to LA. So I remember, very much listening to Megan first, and then you telling me about what her vibe was, and then you saying, let's acknowledge that there's a new voice actor, after I got the part. So like a couple weeks later, hey, you got the part, but let's make it a little bit yours because she's going through a change here. Yep. So is that how you remember it?
Yeah, because they wanted to they always start with like, can you find us a sound alike, right? And that's and so you think about who you have in your your ensemble that can do that sort of thing, but also it is different. I mean, they are different, but it's the same. You also have the sensuality to play that character because she's so flirtatious and also very strong. That not only was the voice right, which I knew you could do, but I also knew that you could bring that character, that personality to that character. So I do remember. I think it was a very short list of who I recommended that could do that. So I think it was like a list of one.
Working with you too.
Yeah.
So that was exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else happen to have any audition memories, or shall we move
Wayne,
on?
you must have auditioned for that. You had to have. Didn't you audition for a bunch of characters on that, Wayne?
Yeah, Wayne auditioned for My Valentine. That's right.
Yeah. I was second on the list, I think.
He's so versatile.
I told
they
Megan.
They just didn't want the Brooklyn accent or the Shakespearean one. So, yeah,
no, it was I some Australian Baltic. It didn't work. It was a choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I think we've got time for one more quick one before we wrap this one up. So let's see what our final question is. All right, this one is from Angel. If your character were to be a solo musician or a front person for a band, what genre would they sing or perform? Angel, you know this crew very well. That was choice. That was choice.
Is this a trap?
That's a good one.
I think it would be
I'm not going
cabaret.
first. I just spoke a whole monolith. Somebody else go first. I already know my answer.
Mine would be jazz.
I think Pegasus would do cabaret because it's reflective and
Totally.
smooth.
Mokuba
The
would be a
stool.
rapper.
Joey's like 70s yacht rock. Hall and Oates.
Oddly specific.
Seals and Cross.
Yes.
Something.
I think Kaiba would be in like a Depeche Mode type band. It would totally be like, you know, techie 80s. That totally, yeah, you know, the whole sort of the outfit. He's totally from that era. Yeah.
But mine could also sing Cyndi Lauper.
Oh yeah.
What
All
about
right.
Yugi?
All
What
right.
would Yugi be?
Well, I think Yami would be some sort of clash between Gregorian chant and heavy metal. and Yugi would be like some kind of, you know, Cat Stevens, James Taylor, crunchy sort of.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive, you know.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Can we do an album now, please?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
please.
Oh my. Wow.
Wayne, you can sing, right? Like ish.
What we always say whenever one of my characters has to sing, and it always freaking happens, is that I can sing. I just
I don't.
I choose not to.
Hey Darren, you put it together. You want to put together like the cast of Yu-Gi-Oh sings different genres of music. You should put that together as a producer. I am sure the fans.
We
would
should,
enjoy it.
we should ask the fans
Right.
if they'd be interested.
If they'd be into that, right?
It'll make tens of
character.
dollars.
In
Angel
character.
questions, sparks an album.
Oh, in character, duh, yeah.
Love it.
Master Yu-Gi-Oh sings the hits. Coming soon this summer.
I want to hear Greg sing something too.
No, you don't.
you don't.
He's got a
Spoken
fine
word.
voice. He's got a fine voice. He does.
Does he? Cool.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Literally
Get
rock and
Cynthia
roll.
Nicholas and Sam Riegel on that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bring him in.
So we are going to begin wrapping it up here, but before we do, I just wanted to go around. If you guys happen to be working on anything that you'd like to tell us about, now is definitely the time. What are y'all working on?
A Yu-Gi-Oh cast album. Yeah.
Hey Dan, you could take the lead on this. You've been doing.
Oh,
some
I
stuff.
think I know where Eric's leading me here. So, I had the great privilege of working with almost everyone on screen, with the exception of our lovely and talented Darren Dunstan, on a project that I'm creating called Crossing the Gods, and it includes everyone else that you see, and Eric has a substantial role. Erica, I think, actually has probably the most lines in the role. She plays a villain. Next, I think the other biggest role is Tara's role, and Wayne also is a prominent character. And anyway, so that was one of the most gratifying things. We have it all recorded. It is animation or animation adjacent. So there's lots of visuals, and that takes a lot of time.
Which are drawn by Dan.
That's true. I use a lot of crayon. There's really great stick figures. So anyway, and we had announced it a while ago, and I had underestimated how long the process of creating the visuals would take, and we were making the visuals more and more sophisticated as we went. We thought it'd be something more simple and became more complex, and that takes more time. And also, I've just in the last several months been slammed with a ton of audiobook work, which I'm very grateful for. But that is, if anybody who's done audiobook work can attest, it takes a lot of time and a lot of focus, and there's preparation, there's recording, and
A little bit.
so yeah,
There's
I've been having like 3 or 4 books a month, and that's a
Oh
lot.
wow,
Yeah,
that's
a lot.
fantastic.
Isn't there
Yeah,
some
it's
overall-
great. What's that, Wayne?
And also, isn't there some overall thing happening in the world right now that kind of
There's a thing. I forget what it's called. Yeah, that's really changed.
And Mario, the only thing I'm doing is I'm locked in my house so much that I can't perform any music out there. So I'm trying to release a song a month, working on each one at a time, start to finish, in the different styles of the musicians that have influenced me. So it's a collection of singles, not a new album. And it's been a lot of fun because there are no rules, right? The continuity is just that they're all from me, but you know, I'll do something that's folk, you know, that I'm talking about Cat Stevens, something like that, or do something that's more rock and roll, you know, things like that. And it's been the only thing that's kept me sane is between the voiceover work that I'm doing here at home, because taking away the interaction of live performing has definitely taken its toll on my psyche. So,
well, if you need Yugi to do some backup vocals on your Cat Stevens track, you know.
There you go. So very eclectic collection. Real quick, where would we be able to find that?
It's ericstewart.com. Is you can always, you know, check that out, or my YouTube page. You know, it's you just look up Eric Stewart Band, or even on Facebook. You know, it's a picture of me with a microphone. I think there's a microphone here.
So there you go. For the chat who is demanding the band/musical album, we've got some stuff to tide you over. So we still need Tara, Darren, Erica, and Wayne to just quickly give us a few things, and then we will let them loose to hang out and chat with y'all and get some cool autographs. So Tara, what do we have in the pipe works for you?
If you go to at Tara Sands LA on Twitter, I'm pretty good about updating. I'm working on a very offensive podcast right now with God himself, the tweet of God. Not for the easily offended. I am his sidekick, Joan of Arc. It's called Godcast. We interviewed Stephen Colbert. We've had some really fun guests. And I make some like Dungeons and Dragons and geeky dice jewelry at my Etsy shop. But if you find me on Twitter, I'll lead you there. Rock and roll, Darren.
Something that involves all of us is there's a whole Yu-Gi-Oh channel now on Pluto TV. So it's like literally 24/7, all the different Yu-Gi-Oh series, including new episodes of Brains, which is the most recent series, and the new episodes drop every Friday night, 2 episodes every week.
Someone's making money for that.
Go check it out. I've actually sat and, you know, you get kind of caught up in it. You're like, oh, who's that guy? Oh, GX. So yeah, it's kind of engaging.
Nice little trip down memory lane.
Sure.
Leave it on in the background. Cool. Erica?
I'm trying to think of what I can talk about and what I can't, but I'm working on Boy, Girl, Dog, Cat, Mouse, Cheese. I play Cheese and Cat. One of my favorite characters I've ever played. It's on the BBC, and we're looking to hope to get it to the States, and it's also in Canada. And I love working on that. Still working on Pokemon, playing Sobble and Wobbuffet and Eevee and a bunch of other Pokemon, and Go's Rotom Phone. And just recently did Devos in World of Warcraft Shadowlands. And I'm on Instagram, and I try and keep everyone up to date on everything. I'm in the booth 4 or 5 days a week working on new things, wonderful things. And my daughter is too, which is crazy because we have a booth.
She is so talented, Madigan.
It's great.
It's crazy because I had to record this morning, and then we had just a half an hour to get me out and her in for her record. So it's like I have like my own little repertory company here. So that's exciting.
Wait. What was the name of that first show you mentioned?
Boy, Girl, Dog, Cat, Mouse, Cheese.
That's like my house.
I thought that was like what they ask you on a mental competency test. Like
camera.
She's down. She's got it.
That's funny.
That's funny.
That's funny.
So I guess Wayne, again, first one in, last one out. So what do you got for us?
Bookended. I also don't know what I'm allowed to talk about, but I do know that I have a fairly steady gig on Octonauts, which is on Netflix every now and then. We just finished an hour and a half long special. It's I play Peso the Penguin with a Spanish accent because that's every penguin is Spanish. Duh. Yeah, South Pole, man, South Pole. There's also this thing that's called Gulliver. It's an adaptation of Gulliver's Travels that a Russian production house is doing that has been going through many phases of tweaking the animation, which has been looking great. And I've been going in and just doing pickups every couple of months and, you know, getting that nice little steady check.
Great on that.
Always ready for more Yu-Gi-Oh, Darren. You know,
Darren approves.
Yeah.
Every once and again, there'll be like my voice shilling something on an audio spot, and knock wood, so far I haven't had to like shill for something I didn't believe in. That's good. Yay, commercial.
Rock and roll. So
there's a video game coming that I can't talk about, but it's a superhero.
Ooh.
Superhero. Doesn't have any powers, and it's coming out soon.
Rock and roll.
Awesome.
Well, big thanks again to all of you for joining us here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us here at GalaxyCon Live. We have plenty more stuff coming up down the pipeline, so go to galaxycon.com to find out more. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you again soon. Otherwise, have a good night, y'all. Thanks again.